waste any more time, let's get into this thing.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to VO Booth Besties. We're here to help working voice actors get your most important questions answered by industry pros who know. Each week we have a new topic and a guest speaker who is an expert on that topic. To stay updated on all things VOBB, you can swing by our website, boothbesties.com, and sign up for our weekly newsletter, and also join the VO Booth Besties Facebook group as well. We're super fun. Now, without further ado, let's meet our guest.
Chipper Whatcott is the founder of Whelm. It's a free suite of software tools for freelance professionals. That was a tongue twister. But his favorite title is husband and father. Chipper got his start in freelance world as a graphic designer, taking on client projects outside of his day job. And after years of mediocre results, using other CRMs, he built Whelm to solve the problems he faced as a freelancer to make freelancing more accessible to all. And I have to tell you, I have signed up for the account and started using it, and I love it.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yep. I I signed up for it months ago and was like, this is great, and then forgot about it because that's what I do. And then I went back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out again. And I watched your video and I was like, wow, there's so many things that this program, the software offers. I immediately told the gens, I'm like, you guys, we should all be using this software. So, but Chipper, I want to start, first of all, is that what your friends call you, Chipper? Or is that what your mother named you? I just have to know.
Yes and no. I have a different legal name.
Okay.
Insider info. My legal name is Trace.
That's a cool name.
Sure, it's fine.
You're a third, aren't you?
I'm not.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, I usually hear that. They either call him Trey or something else if you're a third,
Right.
but you don't want to be called the third.
Right.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I was, they put Trace on the birth certificate and called me Chipper since the day I was born. So when people say Trace, I actually don't register that it's my name. I have to remind myself that that's what's on my driver's license. But yeah, ever since the day I was born, went by Chipper, and Chip or Chipper, either one.
I love it. That's fun. It's such a fun name that it's just like, he has to have picked that for himself, but your parents clearly just knew your personality was going to be Chipper from day one, right?
I guess, yeah. But funny enough, my my humor is much more dry and kind of deadpan, and the irony is fun, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chipper, my husband's name is Andy, and it's just Andy. And not unlike you, in college, people be like, Drew, what's up? Or they'll call him, and nothing, like no respect. He's just walking down the hallway because they keep calling him. But no, his parents just named him Andy. And you'll hear him say that on the phone. He'll be making a reservation and he'll always go, no, it's just Andy. And they asked him, is your full name Andrew? And no, it's just Andy. So you're not alone.
Yeah. I can commiserate with Andy.
I love it. I love it. Well, I love that your childhood name stuck too, because I'm glad that mine didn't. We won't go into what my mom called me when I was little, but it was not something I want on my LinkedIn profile. Let's put it like that. Okay, so talk about what you did. Talk about your work before you transitioned to being an entrepreneur. You did work for other people to start with, right? Talk a little bit about that. What did you do?
Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I was always trying to find ways to do random things that make money. For example, Binky, Jen. Sorry, that was in the chat for the people who can't see it. Yeah, as a kid, I'd go on Craigslist and look through the free section and find stuff that was free and then go pick it up and turn around and sell it.
That's brilliant.
So just little things like that to make some spending money. But as I got older and got a full-time job, I started in marketing, specifically in digital marketing. That's where I got my degree. I started my career in search engine optimization. Pretty rapidly left that and went into just sort of general marketing because I was so bored with SEO. Not that SEO is bad. For the SEOs out there, good on you. It's a good career. But I studied graphic design since I was in middle school. And so I needed that something creative to scratch that itch for me. So I went into just a general marketing role for about a year and a half, and then transitioned into a design role and was doing graphic design for about 3 years before quitting there and going full time into Whelm. So yeah, always been in like the marketing or creative fields. And that's, where I started my freelance career, doing freelance on the side, just as a side hustle again, because I have a difficulty not trying to monetize my hobbies. And yeah, that's how we ended up here with Whelm.
You and Jen have a lot in common. I think it's true. Jen Greenfield, NJ Jen. I think would you agree though that there are some people who are just born creatives? Like we need to create. Like it's just a part of who we are. Is that how do you relate to that?
Um, I mean, everyone's different. I think we all do need to create in a way that scratches that itch for us. Um, but everyone kind of has a different itch that needs to be scratched in a different way, I guess, right?
Go on, NJ. She's not going to talk. All right, I'll tell you. She's got a bunch of itches she's always trying to scratch, and she's good at all of them. That's the thing. And we're always like, you should be directing, you should be producing, you should be doing marketing. Like she's just good at all the things. So when you made that transition, how did you decide to take that risk? Like that's a
Oh,
big one.
yeah, you're right. It is a big risk. Um, luckily my wife and we had saved our pennies and did some, we got kind of lucky with the timing of the real estate market, with a couple of house projects that we did and flipped some properties. And so we had kind of saved up a piggy bank that we had to crack open to go full time into freelance. But yeah, it was really just about mitigating risk, because regardless, there's going to be risk. Um, and so we just tried to save up where we could so that it was a possibility.
I love that. You didn't go into it blind. You planned for it. You decided you wanted to do it and you made sure you had the finances to back up that decision.
Yeah, and it's like I was thinking about this last night, like the first startup, try not to go broke. And maybe the next one is go for broke, who knows.
Yeah.
But but we're in the throes of it, to be honest. We're in the early days of being an entrepreneur, less than a year full time, more than a year on the side. But yeah, it's a wild journey and it's a constant roller coaster. And last night I was talking with my co-founder and I was like, man, I feel like I'm at the boring part of the roller coaster, wherever that is. I don't know. We're climbing up the hill, I guess, and it's starting to feel like this is never going to work. And then you hit a loop-de-loop or something and it feels like this is the greatest thing in the world. So it's just a crazy roller coaster, which I'm sure the three of you totally understand and feel that deeply, since to a degree you are your own boss and you're building your own business by yourself.
Yep. Most voice actors identify as entrepreneurs. I've heard some conversation about, are we entrepreneurs or are we freelancers? But I think we're both in the fact that there's no other safety net for many voice actors. I feel really lucky. My husband has a full-time job, right? And so I have that as a safety net. It's a lot harder when you take that jump. You're not going to have health insurance as easy, and you're not going to have the steady income that comes from a day job. And a lot of voice actors have to make that jump, and it's a big one for us. It's a tough decision. And I love your two things that you pointed out. One, you planned for it, you had money, you had a nest egg. And two, you didn't just make that decision, you counseled with and included your wife in that decision and your family, because it affects your entire family. What does that look like for your family?
Oh, it affects the whole family in a big way. Absolutely. Um, my wife is surrounded on her family, her side of the family, surrounded by entrepreneurs who disguise themselves as construction workers. But really they're all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And so for her, the idea of instability and the idea of the unknown, it was daunting, but it was also almost familiar for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it required some nudging from me for a few years. And then once we felt comfortable, it was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's jump in. And it got to the point where I was just so unsatisfied with my last full-time job. I hated it. And every day she would say, just quit, just do Whelm full time, just quit, jump into Whelm full time. And so it's funny how, eventually those roles reverse and she's the one pushing me to jump into it with both feet. So yeah, it required and still requires a lot of sacrifices from everyone involved. But we do it with the hope that there's a freedom at the end of it, right? Go for it, Naked Jen.
How did this even come about? I mean, one, where's the name Whelm come from? Is this a subset of Overwhelm, or what? Where did Whelm come from? The name.
Yeah, that's exactly what it came from. We were thinking through names, and I just got a chuckle at the idea of not being overwhelmed or underwhelmed, just being whelmed. And
I like it.
That was where it came from. Yeah, and it kind of marketing speak. It kind of plays into what our competition offers. Some of them are overwhelming. Their tool does so much that it feels overwhelming, and you almost have to have a degree to understand it.
But
and
so
then
what was happening in your life though that, or you don't need to answer that. Like, what were the circumstances? Yes, I'll get there. What were the circumstances though that led you to go, of all the businesses I could come up with, right? Not construction, not, graphic design, but that's what I want to understand. Like CRM, like tools to help, like where did that part of it come from?
Yeah, good question. I've been in technology my whole career. Love technology. I don't know if I would consider myself an early adopter of everything, but I always try to stay in the know of what's going on and have always been intrigued by it. After we finished some of those real estate projects, we were sitting on this nest egg, and I have my list of 300 ideas that I have written down. And I'm going through them with my wife. And then, around the same time, I had started listening to this podcast about acquiring a business. And so that idea started floating around in my head, and went and looked on, I think it's at the time it was called Micro Acquire. Now it's called acquire.com. And I started looking through all these different technology businesses that were for sale. And I stumbled upon this software that is now the foundation of Whelm. At the time, it wasn't Whelm. It has come a long way since then. But I saw it and saw the potential in it. And at the time, I was doing freelance design work, and so I just kind of saw how it fit into my own workflow, and looked at it and thought, you know what, they need someone who can do some marketing. They need someone who has an eye for design. And I think I can bring those two to the table. So we got in conversations with the owner and ended up acquiring that tech stack basically, and turned it into what Whelm is today.
So what would you say were the main pain points for creatives that you were hoping to solve with Whelm?
The unknown, that at least for me as a graphic designer, that was the difficulty. It was like, well, okay, I have to find a client. That's hard enough. But then once I have the client, then what? I have an idea of, I need to talk with them and I'll do some work for them, and then I need to show it to them and get their feedback and then do revisions. And how do I make that process better than 50 emails back and forth, or better than a 2-hour Zoom call? And so when I saw this software as in one box with all the solutions in it, I was like, okay, that solves my problem. I can invoice there. I can send my contracts and get them signed. I can get feedback on my work. Like, all of those things were in one place. And it was like, the light bulb didn't turn on, the light bulb shattered.
I love it. Well, and what's really interesting about this is, not only is it something that someone like me who has been doing voiceover for a while could step in and go, oh yes, this meets my needs, but somebody who's maybe been doing a creative job for a few minutes and isn't sure what the process is can come in, and it's a little bit of a pathway that's already been laid out. That's a cool point. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah, we're kind of I wouldn't say we're giving them the ropes and maybe showing them a little bit how to use them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. I've been following you on LinkedIn for what, a couple of years at
Yeah, we've been
least.
connected for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been kind of fun to watch that roller coaster journey. And can you talk a little bit about the shifts and the changes that you've had to make? Because it's not, I'll take a parallel in the voiceover business. We talk a lot about how there's ups and there's downs, and we have days that we book big jobs and then months where we don't book anything, and it can feel very exhausting. It's a little for you, you can't just sit there in one of these places. You have to shift and rearrange and readjust your software and meet the needs of your audience. So what have been some of the big changes that you've made over the last year since you launched?
Yeah, good question. The first thing we did was, a lot of the software when we first acquired it, a lot of the features were broken. They would kind of work, but kind of not. First thing we did was just take out all the fluff. We actually removed features, and narrowed it down to kind of 4 or 5 core functions. And then from there, it was like rebuild everything from the inside out, to get it to where it is right now. Another big change was pricing. We weren't sure who our target audience was. We had an idea. We thought it was freelancers. We thought maybe it was specifically videographers. And so that's where we were marketing it, and just not getting a lot of traction. And then, we started playing with pricing and figuring that out. And it's kind of culminated into what it is now, where the software is free to begin with. Anyone can get on and use it for as long as they want, completely free. It's free in the way that like Slack is free or Zoom is free. You get almost all of the features for free forever. And then if you want to build out a team around you as a freelancer, if you want some extra features that really aren't core features, then those are available in a paid plan. But it was this eureka moment of like, people aren't signing up. Why? And we figured it out. This kind of freelancer that we are targeting, the freelancer who is maybe new to freelancing, or they freelance once a quarter, not once a week. Finding that freelancer, that's really who we're going for. And that freelancer isn't willing to pay for software, which is fine, because I'm not either. When I was doing freelancing work, I would much rather take the free feature from 5 different softwares and get what I need than pay for it. And so that's where it came full circle. And we're like, we're trying to shove this payment down people's throat and they don't want it. Let's just give it to them for free. And magically people love free stuff. So people are signing up now.
Yeah. JT, would you take this down the CRM path? Because you have more experience with CRMs, and we can kind of get from Chipper, is it a CRM? Is it not a CRM? And kind of go there.
Yeah, I mean, coming from corporate, I used a contact manager that was in depth and very specific to the industry, with the leads and the contact, like every contact that you made with that person and the dates. And so I think for all of us as freelancers, trying to keep track, especially as the years go on, keeping track of your clients in voiceover can be hard, because there are sometimes like you don't hear from the client for 3 years until they need you for another project. And it's really easy to lose track if you don't have some kind of contact manager. But HubSpot is ridiculous. Like, there's just too much. It doesn't work. At least not for me. So when Alicia told me about what you had going on, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like a deer in headlights looking at Whelm, because it only does the things I need it to do. And I don't have to use all of it if I don't want to. But there are so many other contact managers out there that even if you're not using the feature, you've still got to kind of go through it to get to the part that you want to use. So, and let's just kind of back it up a little bit. And what is a CRM to you?
Yeah. Client resource manager, right? Isn't that what it stands? Client relationship manager. When I think of a CRM, a robust CRM, I think of HubSpot, or I think of Salesforce, or even some of the task management solutions that double as a CRM, like Monday.com or Asana or Trello. And you're right, all of those are so robust, which is great for corporate. But when you're a solo freelancer, you don't need all of that. I mean, it's overwhelming and it's expensive if you want to do what you want to do on there.
Right.
And so, yeah, we're trying to find that place in the market where it's like you need something. You need something to keep track of these relationships. You need something to manage your workflow, but you don't need all of it. You don't need all the fluff, especially if it's only 0.5% of your user base is ever going to touch those features. Why build them? Why bog down the product? Why make it slower? Why make it more expensive when you can just get exactly what you need? Yeah.
Amy, you're going back, or
Well, I was just going to say that we used HubSpot. Remember when we first started VO Booth Besties, and every time I got on there, I got a headache. Like and all we needed was to input and send out a newsletter, and it was so complicated to do that. And it was like, I can't imagine trying to use it for a CRM for a smaller business like ours. So, yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, JT.
yeah, I did try this. It was a nightmare.
Even when I was getting my digital marketing degree, we had to get certified in HubSpot. And so, I mean, if you have to take courses in HubSpot to get a degree, then maybe it's not great for a solopreneur or a freelancer.
Yeah. So for us, and there are a lot of features that you built into Whelm with the videographer in mind that translate really, really well to voiceover. So let's talk about some of the things that you built Whelm to track.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. We did build pretty much all of this with the videographer or the video editor in mind. We built it with video in mind, general. But so much of video translates to audio. So, one of our core features is the media review. You can upload your audio track, send it off to your client. They won't be able to download it. So you don't have to worry about files getting stolen before you get paid. And they can listen to your audio and leave time-stamped feedback. Or if this is a video, they can watch the video and pause it, and they can draw on, if someone's face is on the screen, they can draw around someone's face and say, hey, can we change the lighting here so that it's maybe a little more of a blue hue, or, whatever. Hit enter, and that feedback is put into the comments, time-stamped exactly where they want the changes in the video. And that translates perfectly over to audio, where they're at 1 minute and 15 seconds and, hey, you kind of stumbled across this word. Can we try this again? And you can see exactly where it's at. Beyond that, the contracts feature where you can upload your own information, it auto fills out a contract for you, and you just send it off to your client to get a signature. Those are built with the creative in mind, with the videographer in mind. And so they translate just fine over to a freelance voiceover actor.
Can it store the contract? I haven't looked at it. So can it?
Yeah, it can store it, and you can also download it and just keep it safely in your files as well, so that you have multiple copies. Your client can download it, has all the signatures on there when it was signed. And so it is totally legally binding, the same way, something with DocuSign or PandaDoc would be legally binding.
And it's digital signing, which is what I love, because instead of people are sending me a contract, I'm printing it out, signing it, scanning it back in, or you got to pull it up in Adobe. And this is all within Whelm. You can send that link directly to a client. They can sign your contract like that. That's great. We could add that Nava writer, the AI writer to it, guys.
That's where my brain's going. I did not know it could do that too.
Yeah. And then we can send the invoices directly with the same software. So not
invoice
only
your client, and don't have to worry about waiting for a check in the mail, which is crazy to me that some people still do that. But they wait for a check in the mail, and then they have to go to the bank and visit their favorite teller and hand in a check, and hopefully, that gets deposited that day. Just do it all digitally.
Hey, I like visiting my favorite teller. I'm just kidding.
actually closed the bank office in my town.
Oh,
So that's not even an option anymore without me driving 20 minutes to a bank.
wow.
So I don't have a
Wow.
favorite teller. So I've got to deposit everything from my phone. AB, you want to do our break real quick?
Yes, I will. And then we have a question in the chat, which is yay. Ask questions in the
Nice.
chat, you guys. We love it. Studio Bricks is our sponsor, and Chipper, you may notice my svelte studio
It's
here.
gorgeous.
It's fancy. I even have lights back here, but my batteries are dead. Um, that's my life. My batteries are always dead. But the Studio Bricks booth allows me to record regardless of what's going on outside and around me. And my example today is that my chickens got out right before this, and they are loud little boogers, and they like to follow me. So as I came up to the studio door, they followed me up to the door, and they're like squawk, 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 squawk. And when I was standing outside the booth, I could hear them squawking at me, and I'm like, crap, we're gonna hear the chickens. And yes, the chickens are out. My daughter then went to go put them back. But I didn't hear any of that because I'm in my Studio Bricks booth. So it gives me the freedom to record regardless of what's going on. I think I told last week how we were in the midst of a crazy storm. I had a Source Connect session with a client, and it was that crazy storm that blew through, and it was thunder and lightning and the works, and the wind, the trees were whipping around, and I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to do this session. I actually came in and recorded 2 takes of the audio for them just in case it didn't work. And it worked, and they were able to get everything. And so Studio Bricks, I'm a big fan. I've got sound treatment here that goes about 3 inches thick, and it's great. I love it. So there we go. And we'll head to Dan Marion's question. He says, I'm looking for a CRM now, except for the team features. Are all the bells and whistles included in the free version? So let's talk about what's the difference between the free version and the paid version.
Sure. Yeah, all the bells and whistles are included. The things that you're not getting is one, extra storage space. We give everyone 15 gigs of storage space for free. So same as Google Drive or something. But if you want more, you can buy more, or you can upgrade to a paid plan where we give you 500 gigs. Additionally, there's a somewhat of a team feature. You can add teammates to your projects with the paid version. And you do have maybe just more capacity for client load. We restrict you at 25 clients on the free version. And, we think that's a pretty good number if you're just starting, or if you're, doing this once every few months. 25 should be plenty. But if you are doing this full time and you're going through 40 clients a year, then you probably want to upgrade to a paid version where you can get more clients on there. Those are the main differences. There might be a few minor things that I'm forgetting, but that's really the difference.
What's the cost?
Yeah.
$18 a month. That's it.
$18 a month, and client management, invoice management, contract management, file management. I think I was telling you before, if I send clients files, they're so big, especially if they're WAV files. I've got to have a Google Drive. I'm paying for extra storage on Google in order to upload to that Google Drive and then send it to the client. And then they've got to share it with their client, who then, and it just passes around, and it's so much easier. And I love the time-stamped feedback. But Chipper, why don't you screen share with us and show us Whelm? Show us what
Sure.
the options are. If we're on Zoom, we might as well look.
Might as well while we're here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pulling up my dashboard just so I have it ready, and I'm not, giving you guys a show of anything else that we have going on.
Now we want to know what's on your desktop.
One of the features that I really love, and this is something that you address that I've not seen anywhere else, is that one of the things that we've talked about so many times is, how do you know that the client isn't taking your file and saying, oh, yeah, this isn't what we want, and using it anyway and not paying you for it?
Mm-hmm.
Having the ability to release the file to them that's massive. I love that so much. Being able to track your booking ratio and tracking your lead sources, just so much about this I love.
Yeah, and then when it's done, You can send them a downloadable version where they just click download and it downloads the whole thing. So you don't have to worry about uploading, a 14 gig sized file to Google and sending that because it's too big to go on email or anything. You can transfer large files through here as well.
I'll tell you another pain point while you're getting ready to pull that. There we go. We're pulling it up. But I get really frustrated because we send audio to clients through the email, and sometimes they never say anything back. I don't know. Did they like it? Did it work? Did they use it? Did they not use it? Should I send an invoice now? I'm of there's two kind of mindsets. Some people, the minute they send the audio, they send the invoice. I like to get approval of the audio before I send the invoice, because if I'm going to have to make a bunch of revisions and things, I want to add that all in to the same thing. So this way I can get approval before they even own the audio, which is
Yep.
great.
Yeah, makes life a lot easier. Sure. So this is Whelm. I'm hoping you guys can see what
Yep.
we're looking at here.
Yep.
Okay,
Everything.
awesome. So we're just going to hop into projects, into a demo project that I have here, and check out our media. So these are just some files that I've uploaded. This is an audio file here, and these are videos. But let's check out this file. If we want to send it to our client, we would just say get client feedback. And this is how we're going to send it to them without them being able to download it. Once it's all approved, we would send the downloadable file and they can download it right away. But let's open this up in the review suite so you can see how it works. Here we go. So we got a video playing. I pause it there and I want to, circle the sky here and say, can we make this a better sunset? And then it loads that in and we can see it right there. Can we make this a better sunset at 2 seconds? And, as the freelancer, I see this, I can like it, I can reply to it, leave a comment back and say, yes, for sure. And then at this point, you can even just treat this like a task manager. And once you make those changes, come in here and mark it as complete. Yep, we did that.
Whoa.
And then even, say you want to send a new version of this file that's been updated. All of those versions would lie right in here. So we would just come back over here and do manage versions and upload a new version of the same file. So they can see, what changes you made and all that. And then once it's ready to go, they would just hit approve or needs review. And then if it's ready to go or if it needs to be worked on still. And with these, you can draw stuff, you can put boxes on there, you can choose different colors, and maybe you want to leave a pinpoint somewhere. You have all these different options to really make the feedback specific and actionable, not just I like the way it sounds, but can we make it more cool? It's just not helpful getting feedback like that from clients. And so this way it really drills down in what is it that they're wanting and gives you the tools that you need to get that feedback.
So let me ask a question.
Sure.
So let's say sometimes as the voice actor, we're like 3 steps back from the final person who's making decisions. So if I share it with person A who hired me, can they share it with persons C and D or X and Z or whatever?
Yep.
Or is it just, okay?
Yeah, they would, they can just forward the email onto them, or you can also copy the link and then share it with them directly. So you can choose your clients, or you can just copy the link and share it. Either way, you can text it to them, whatever you want to do. But
and
they
anybody
can also
who has the
just
link can add feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep. And to add feedback, you don't need an account. So your client doesn't have to have a Whelm account. It would just ask for their first and last name so that you know who the feedback is coming from. And that's it.
You guys, whoever's listening, this could literally be a game changer for our career. How nice to be able to offer this option to our clients.
Yeah.
Like it makes us look so much more professional, and it's free.
And it's free.
I'm just saying it's free. Although I would probably end up paying. I think I have more than 25 clients. So, but I'm like $18 a month. That's definitely an investment that's worth.
Yeah, and even at $18 a month, if you look at who our competitors are, $18 a month is still cheaper.
Yeah.
And so you're saving money either way. But let's jump into the documents. This is where all of the
like the
contracts are held. Yeah. So if you have a production service agreement that you need, let's create a new one, and we'll assign this to that test project. Little notice, legal notice. And then from here, you're just going to fill out the information. So, my company name, and we're doing this at 444. Oh, oops, forgot to click on it. 444 street address. You're going to go through and fill out all of these things, and then you'll click apply these fields, and slowly you'll see each one of these will populate with all of the info. So once that's all done, you click next, and there's your contract ready to go. If you'd like to add extra signatures, you just add a signature. That way you and your client can sign it. And then go back to preview. It's ready to go and finalize, and you just choose your client and send it out. That's it.
So that edit dynamic fields, can we, voice actors love their logos. Can we add our own logo to the contract?
Your logo will be right here.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I put Whelm in there because it's just our Whelm account. But when you set up your own settings with your profile, it will have your name here, and instead of this is the name of my company, it will say
Alicia Bake Voiceovers.
Alicia Bake Voiceovers, exactly. And it'll have your little logo there.
I love it. This is great. So you've got contracts, service
invoices.
agreements,
If you want to create a new invoice, it's kind of the same process. Which project you want to sign it to, put a name on it, and then from there, you'll come in here and just add your different line items. I did this voiceover thing, and I did that twice for $1,000 each, and it'll pop out a total for you of $2,000. You add on a discount if you want, leave some notes and conditions, and then send it. And
so I noticed when you clicked on invoice, it said 2.9% plus 30 cents. Does that mean that we can be paid through the software as well? And is that the fee to be paid, or is there another payment processing fee?
No, that's just the payment processing fee. So on the free version, well, to give some context, payment processing is 2.9% plus 30 cents regardless.
Yep.
That's just the price for processing a payment. So that's not anything. We're not making money on that.
Right.
That's going to the payment processor. For the free version, we add on an additional 1% service fee. And that's how we're able to do this for free. Is we'll take, if you get a $500 invoice, then we're going to make $5 on that. And that's how we're able to keep the lights on.
Right. Which Wave does the same thing. When I send Wave apps, I pay a higher fee than if I just went to PayPal and sent a PayPal invoice.
Yep. And on our paid version, we waive the 1% service fee. So it's only the payment processing fee that you're paying, nothing else. And that just gets taken out of the invoice. When they pay it, it will go through our payment processor and pull out their, they're going to shave off their piece, and then the rest will go straight to your bank account.
Sweet.
And one additional thing that, we don't advertise this a ton, but it's awesome, is we have a perks tab, and we have all of these discounts and free softwares and trials and tools that you can save a ton of money. So
nice.
If you need some audio some stock audio, well, you can get 70% off your first year with audio if you buy it through us. So all you do is
affiliate links.
We will make a little bit of a payment on the back end, or a little affiliate disclosure here, but
so it helps to support the website.
Yeah, it keeps it. It's another one of those things where we're making sort of microtransactions that keep our lights on without affecting, substantially affecting our users. And in the perks tab, anyone who needs these things, I know a lot of videographers and they're like, yeah, I already have an Artlist subscription. If I can just get it 2 months for free through you, I would much rather do that. That's going to
Right.
save me 2 months of expenses. But yeah, tons of things in here. If you need furniture for your home office, if you need help setting up your LLC, if you have a podcast and want to save some money there, if you need to set up your email with Google, so many things in here to save freelancers a ton of money.
Love it. I mean, affiliates are just a win-win. You win and we
Yep.
win and everybody wins.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, those are the core features. These are just the clients that you would set up, add a new client when you have one. Projects, you just create a new project each time you have a new project to work on. And that's it. And you can also refer your friends. And if they upgrade to the pro version, then we'll actually pay you $15 for sending them our way. So
sweet.
yeah, those are all the features of Whelm. It's super lightweight. It's not going to bog down your computer or your life. And our hope is that it makes things so much smoother and makes your business just run so much better.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm totally whelmed.
Just completely whelmed.
I'm completely whelmed. So I thank you, Chipper. I love this software and the options that are available to us. And I wanted to remind our listeners that we have now I can't remember which date it is, but coming up, Chipper's giving away, I think it's 2, 3
Great. Yep.
free 6-month subscriptions.
Yep, to the pro version of Whelm. So
Yeah.
you can get the pro version for free for 6 months. And then if 6 months pass and you don't want it, cool, go back to the free plan. If you
Yeah.
love it, then you got 6 months for free.
And if you're not registered for that, friends, and you want to be registered for that, just go to our website and make sure that you're on the list on that Google form. Just go in and you can resubmit it if you've already submitted it, and just put your name just on that one box so you can be sure you're entered for that. I want to be entered for that. Darn it. So let's, NJ, do you want to take us to
I wanted to ask you one more question. Is there do we have to, does the freelancer have to manually input all of the information per client, or is there like an Excel spreadsheet connector 4000 that can happen to do that?
Currently it's manual upload.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a number of things that are in the works where actually we have redesigned the entire experience. And the designs are done, but we have to do all the development work to implement them.
All right, I'll be patient.
But
Well,
yeah,
the nice thing though
there's a
is
lot.
it's the beginning of the year.
Right.
So even if you don't go back and, import all of your old clients, just start with this year and go forward and add stuff as you have time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
each time you do
So
absolutely.
a new
that's what
project.
I'm doing. Just start here and move forward.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Well,
Chip, well,
go
one
ahead.
more thing, Chipper. Are there any questions we should have asked you and we didn't?
Oh, let's see. No, but I have a question for you. What are the odds? What kind of voice do I have? Could I make a living as a voice actor?
Well,
These
my
days,
favorite,
yes, you could.
yes, my favorite answer to that is everyone has a good voice. That everybody has a good voice for something. And it's just the key is learning how to market yourself and find what you're a good fit for, right? Audience, they all know that we like to say that. So go listen to our podcast, Chipper, VO 101 series. We can tell you how to start from beginning to end.
That's a good plug. I'm gonna add that to my list now.
So wow. Thank you. I'm the one, and I intentionally did it. I didn't look at anything because I wanted to come out from the listener's perspective. I am so excited to have been introduced to Whelm, to learn about it, and definitely sign up for it. For me, the biggest feature is that approval before, we talk about that. There's so much, uncertainty, like, oh, if I send it to him, do I need to watermark it? Or do I put a random bleep in it? Or, before it's approved and whatnot. And that is just what a smart feature. So thank you very much for thinking of that.
And they can't say, oh, I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. Yes, you did. I see that you did.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's like, maybe we shouldn't publish this episode so we can be the only ones that offer this really cool thing? If you were listening today, the 8 or 10 of you, you're a winner. And I'm just kidding. The rest of you can have the info too. We'll pass it along. We're
Well,
gonna
Chipper, we
revolutionize it.
appreciate you. Yeah, we appreciate you so much for joining us. We've made it a solid hour. We've all been informed. We've learned something new. And something that I'm always an advocate of is getting outside of just the VO industry proper. We have a tendency to kind of just list the same things and say the same names. And I love that you're outside of that, but absolutely necessary and we can use it. So I'm really excited about that. So, and we're supporting another creative. Before you go, we like to ask our speakers 3 for fun questions.
Cool.
The first one is, what show or series are you binge watching right now?
Oh, so we just last night we finished Ted Lasso for the second time. And was reminded of all the good feels that you get on that final episode, even though it's sad. And after we finished it, we started The Office it's the second time for me. I've only ever seen The Office once. So that's
JT
the
is
current
a
binge.
huge Office fan. So you've hit it on the nose there. All right. Dream vacation, if you haven't already taken it.
New Zealand. Have not taken it, but since I was a kid, that's been the dream vacation.
Amazing. My grandparents went, they've both since died, but they had gone before and they did a floating hut. I don't know how into it you are, but like they had to boat out. They just said it was one of the best trips they've ever taken. So I'm with you on New Zealand. And our last question is, what's your go-to shower singing song?
Oh, I don't sing in the shower. Is that
Stop,
crazy?
we all sing in the shower.
I really don't.
You
I don't
like
know
hum
if
in
I've
your head?
ever. No, but I sing in the car.
That's what I say, your
always.
go-to car singing
Okay,
song.
fine. We'll change it for you today. What's the car song that you're just like
Oh
singing out
man,
while you're driving?
that's such a good question. I mean, I'm always listening to music, so whatever song is playing, but what song do I hum when I'm not? I'm such a bad person for this. I don't have an answer.
Hey, no pressure.
Whatever, what do they call it? Those songs that get stuck in your head, earbug or something like that.
That's yeah.
Whatever that was, the last one that I last heard, that's the one that's going.
Admit it. It's Taylor Swift. Admit it.
Half the time it is because she's so popular. Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right, JT, take us out.
Well, a huge thank you to everybody who joined us live today. If you're listening to our podcast, feel free to join us live on YouTube every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. Meanwhile, be sure to connect with each of us on LinkedIn and join the VO Booth Besties Facebook group. Did you miss a live episode? Admit it, you know you did. You can always catch the recording later on our website, boothbesties.com, or anywhere that you find your favorite podcast. We would love it if you would hop on any of those platforms and leave us a review, like and subscribe. Helps us reach more listeners who are looking for good VO content. And if you haven't, you can sign up for our newsletter. It will let you know what's coming up next week. And speaking of next week, we have David Lawrence, the 17th, joining us about mastering ACX. Thank you all for being here. Chipper, thanks for being here. Have a great day.
Thank
Thanks,
you, ladies.
everybody.
This was super
Bye.
fun. Great.